When it comes to Gunpla, the high-grade GQuuuuuuX is like absolutely nothing we have ever seen before. This is a brand new beast, for absolutely fantastic reasons, and sadly, a couple of negative ones. But of course I'm gonna gush about the good ones first. It looks phenomenal. The design of this, the mecha anatomy, the colors are like nothing we have ever seen before by Bandai. As a high-grade Gundam, this is beyond unique. The color separation is off the charts, the color choices are very nice, and the small tiny microscopic parts in some aspects like the head, well, are finger-cripplingly destroying. If you're into posing your kits, the articulation on this kit is like an action figure, it's that good. It all feels fluid, it's brilliantly designed, and you will get the most over-the-top poses out of it. The accessories in here also will not leave you wanting with some unique takes on some Gundam classics. However, I will mention there are a couple of negative aspects to it. This is a very ambitious design, which does mean it does rely on some stickers for some of the more intricate, tiny color details. We do have two sheets in here, one for laying down some colors that aren't included in plastic, the other for the red pinstripes on it. And the other negative aspect, and this is a symptom of this kit's absolute uniqueness, that is the fact that this is not as compatible with standard high grades as we would usually see. This breaks the mold in a lot of ways, and depending on your viewpoint, not all good ones. Anyway, overall it is fantastic. I would say right here what it is actually ranked, but 2025 for me is bringing a brand new system, so we leave that to the end. Anyway, let's get right into it. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the high-grade it doesn't say Gundam there anywhere. But yeah, this right here is the high-grade GQuuuuuuX from the anime of the exact same name. As usual, I got this kit right here from those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan, so link is down there in the description. Now inside of this box right here, we've got what isn't really that much plastic. We've got 6 runners for actually building the Gundam itself, which what I can only say is ridiculous considering how detailed this ends up, and 1 runner then for the brand new beam effects in here. Sadly though, we do have 2 sheets of stickers in here, which takes over the build a little bit if you let it. However, I will touch back on that a little bit when I'm talking about the aesthetics. Now usually right here, this is where I do have the actual build portion of the video, but now, every now and then I'm going to be having a build night over on the Mecha Gaikotsu Discord and Patreon, so that's exactly where I built it. Basically, it's a bit of a hangout with the building of kits. So that means I don't have any actual footage for the build of this, so right into the review. So jumping right on into the aesthetics, and that right there is the finished kit out of box with nothing done at all. I didn't panel line anything, and that's one thing I would almost mention. This kit doesn't rely on panel lines much at all. This kit doesn't do, well, much of what Gunpla does at all. So yeah, when it comes to high-grade Gunpla or just Gunpla in general, this is so unique I don't even know where to start. I kind of feel like I just need to kind of dive in somewhat randomly and just start picking away at it like that. First off, if we take the overall impression of it, this looks like nothing we've ever seen before. The color combination does of course have the blue, red, white and yellow that you'd get on a Gundam usually, but the blue is a little bit more subdued. The color placement is like nothing we've ever seen before at all, and even though it does have the standard color scheme, it's not in the usual places. So first off, getting into multiple different lights, because the studio light can always make things look one kind of particular way, so we'll get it into some different varying lights around the place as well as outside. Again, overall the colors on this are incredibly nice. Out of box, again, I've used only a couple of stickers, not them all, and honestly, I wouldn't have even noticed. The color separation on here is insane out of box, and this is what you'll get. Beautiful. So yeah, because this kit right here is just so unique, I'm actually going to blast through each of the pieces twice. One, to just kind of talk about what's nice and unique. Second, to actually mention the color accuracy issues, including the stickers. First off, this head is ridiculously unique. There are 2 variants. This is the more Gundam-y looking one, serving up a little bit of Gundam Dantalion, and somewhat a little bit of a Gundam frame kind of feel as well, which I guess is Gundam Dantalion. All those little bits of plastic you can see in there, the yellow, the grey, the red, those are all tiny little pieces. We are missing some color separation here and there, but overall, ridiculously impressive. The same goes for when we blast down to the torso right here, so lots of parts that build up on each other very nicely. The cockpit section looking incredible, some nice geometry and color separation. Inside of, well, the armpits right there, that is one of the most unique joints I've ever seen. It's a hinge inside of the body nicely designed. Moving now down to the waist unit, which has a really kind of skeletal, pelvic kind of look to it. Again, color separation all over the place. That red is color separated, the geometry is very nice. And around back we do have two little attachment points for attaching on some of the accessories. The arms in here are incredible. That red section you're seeing right there up top, that is color separated, so that is a big square of red plastic in there. The joints are single jointed, but they work extremely nicely. And for me, the most impressive aspects are the shoulders. These are beyond beautiful. Sandwiched up super nicely in gray and white plastic. We do have a little bit of a pan lining opportunity right there with those little circles. And we do have some incredible nice gray in there on the inside. However, it is most definitely the legs that completely steal the show. There is just so much going on in these. From these armored bumper sections right here, which just seems so functional, these red details inside the thigh, not sure if this is part of the propulsion system or some kind of hydraulics or something like that, but it's a nice design. And so many aspects of this design are ridiculously deliberate, so you can actually see into the kind of guts of the thruster for the foot section. This is just inside of these nice little truss areas here, lightly armored all the way around. Now, no matter what way I try to light these, I feel like I can't do them any justice. We've got the gray section nicely inside of that, and you can pretty much see through the leg to the other side, which is a very nice touch. Then the actual bottoms on the feet of these are a thruster, so you can see there's a deep, nice hollow inside of those, and the actual foot is just more of a kind of landing gear aspect attached onto the side of it. Ridiculous. Lastly, then we do have the backpack round back, which is ridiculously unique looking as well. This almost looks to me like an extra pair of legs, considering we've got thrusters in the bottom of the legs. And this really does hold true that this Gundam kit right here is unlike any that we've ever seen before. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. However, it is not all sunshine and roses, because if you take a look at this right here, that is quite the sticker sheet. And we do also have this one right here as well in red, so that is a lot of stickers to make this kit look like it does in the actual anime. So if you do slap the high-grade GQuuuuuuX side by side with the actual official art from the anime, you will see that there is quite a few colors missing, essentially mainly in yellow more than anything else. Now again, some of these are present on the sticker sheet, but that isn't necessarily everything. Even including the actual red pinstripe aspects, it is missing quite a bit. Some yellow detailing on the bumper sections on the thighs. Again, simple to put there, but it's not present. Some aspects like the shading and the detailing on the rear of the wrist guards. And one aspect I always find a little bit hard to actually forgive, and that is missing colors on the head. And there are no stickers, no nothing for the various little details on the V-fin, which is quite noticeable. Panel lining will help, but it won't be a full fix. Anyway, speaking of those stickers, the ones I did use and the ones I didn't use, one at a time. So number one, those are the eyes. Those are individual eyes for on both sides. They actually catch the light very perfectly, but there is no color separated eyes underneath. 3 and 4, these ones right here, these are from the little ears on the sides of the heads. They're just little recessed yellow parts, so not too bad. 5, this one right here is for the head camera, and unlike your usual kind of single foil, this has a lot of little dotted, shiny, purple aspects to it. It's pretty cool. 6 right here, that is this little shiny green piece on the V-fin. 7 right here, that coffin-shaped one, that's a fitted sticker, but it's mainly just for adding the yellow pinstripe. 8 and 9 I didn't use, they're tiny, I didn't think they'd really be of much benefit. Those also go on the cockpit. 10, also on the cockpit, this one right here. 11, also on the cockpit section, another pinstripe. 12 and 13, purple foils for on the collarbone. 14 and 15 are interchangeable. 14 is a Pomeranian, 15 is a... 16 and 17, these are the largest one in here. These are actually for on the fuel tanks inside of the lower leg. 18 and 19 right there, those are the yellow sections for in the bumpers on the thighs. Actually, I might use those ones. 20 and 21, those are for here on the heels. And yeah, as you can see, these aren't all encompassing, so there are some aspects which are missing, like the yellow sections which are meant to be on these little sticky outy fin parts right here on the blue. And finally then we do have the sticker style decals. These are for all those various red pinstripes and whatnot that are all over the GQuuuuuuX. These definitely do give it a lot of nice character and attitude, but I'm not sure how these would hold up. Feel like there'd be a real peel hazard. Okay, so on to size comparison time. First up, beside the high grade ORIX 78-2 Revive, the real grade 2.0 version of the ORIX 78-2, high grade Gundam Mark II, high grade Zeta Gundam 0088, high grade Gundam Exia, high grade Gundam Barbatos, high grade Gundam EX, high grade Engage Gundam, high grade Mighty Strike Freedom, but I will mention he's got a bit of a height boost, high grade Rising Freedom, high grade Gundam G Self, high grade Gundam Ariel, and high grade Gundam Caliban. So overall about standard head height for a Gundam, but it's a Gundam that might need a sandwich or two. So now jumping into the accessories, and here's everything that comes with the high-grade GQuuuuuuX. So what we get in here is basically a new take on the old school sword, board and beam rifle loadout with some extras too. When it comes to the beam sabers, actually, hold on a second. I'm just checking the manual right here. Usually where it says the names and descriptions of the various weapons and equipment in the box, it's blank as hell. This kit is being purposely vague, which makes sense. But anyway, let's just refer to them as a pair of nice beam sabers, a nice shield, and a very nice beam rifle. On top of that, we've got this little section for this kit's equivalent of a core fighter. We've got a heat hawk, we've got 2 optional hands, that's on top of the 2 I've had on the whole time, which are wide spreads. And finally, we do have an alternate head with that battle helmet or the V-fin closed. I thought this would be alternate parts, not a full head, so that's a super bonus. So before I actually talk about the accessories that come inside the box with the GQuuuuuuX right here, I'm going to touch briefly on the compatibility with this kit. When it comes to the high grade line, usually we've got the same backpack adapters across the line, same hands. Sometimes, depending on the line, we've got exactly the same pegs to the legs, all in the name of shared compatibility across high grade. It's kind of the shtick when it comes to high grade. Like the game Gundam Breaker, put your favorite bits together. But when it does come to the GQuuuuuuX right here, this has done away with a lot of that compatibility. For example, if you do pop off the backpack round back, instead of having that twin point backpack adapter we usually see, it's just a single peg, and it's a peg pointing out the way, not even a peg pointing in the way, which means currently there are no standard adapters. This then does continue on to some of the other aspects. For example, the pegs in the shoulders are not like what we would have seen from the last 2 lines, and we've got ridiculously cool but completely new hip joints in this kit too. So overall, this probably will be compatible with its own line, just not so much with anything else that's out there. But onto what's in the box. So first up, onto the hands, and these are the ones that have been attached on the whole time. Very nicely detailed. There is the palm, looking nice round back as well. These are the kind of relaxed style of widespread hands, so not too dynamic. But the weirdest thing with the hands in this kit is that right there looks like a hinge. Like you should have a hinge. There is no hinge. That is just molded in there, so it's a little bit of a, feels like a lie. Swapping them out is the usual way, it just pops out like so. And the alternate hands are your usual kind of high-grade sandwich block whole hands like this. And moving into what those holding hands can hold onto, this is this kit's answer to the beam saber. Now, we've been seeing the same old beam for years. This has definitely shaken it up. The handle in here is quite nice, a lot of detail on it, but if you actually take a look at the line art for this particular Gundam, there is meant to be some colors on here, so that you'll have to add yourself. The beam is very nice, it's vigorous, it's got no sharp bit though, so no, you're not going to put out your eye, but it does have a very nice, almost kind of pearl coating on it, and the shade of green is very unique. So getting these into the hand is the usual sandwich routine. These are the ham, and both sides of the hand are the sandwich, or should I even say the bread. So you just make a sandwich out of these, they lock in perfectly. I did try doing this reverse grip as well, because that's what we do on here to make sure it can do both. Yes, it can. These hold in the hand very well, and just trying to get this into a little bit of a pose just felt so fluid. This poses like a figure, it locks tight, it feels good. I'll leave talking about that till later, but just look at that. Looking good, reverse grip good, standard grip good. These are cool beam sabers, love them. So when these aren't in use, just pop them out of the hands like so, pop the beam out of the handle, this attaches in a nice simple sort of way like so, and then these can be stored around on the butt flap just like this on these 2 little pegs. These hold on nicely, they look good, and that is what they look like stored. So I think it's about time to get the old GQuuuuuuX here off the ground and into the air. Now there is no included stand with this kit. The one I'm going to be using is this right here, which is the Simple Stand by Good Smile Company, but pretty much any stand option with a 3mm peg will get the job done for you. These are just super cheap, 3 for about a tenner, and they have a small kind of footprint down here, and they're super easy to get them in the angle and pose that you want. So next up in here we've got the Heat Hawk, which definitely puts the heat in Hawk. Wait, no it doesn't. There's no heat in this Hawk at all. It's just all one piece, no option for what this would actually look like activated. This is, well, a ridiculously simple little bit of accessory. To attach this, you just pop it on into the hand just like that, and yeah, that's it. Definitely a bit of a downgrade compared to what we just saw. Maybe I should have started with this. Moving on. Next up in here, we've got the beam rifle, and this is extremely impressive. So we do have multiple colors. That is the white, yellow, and gray. There is a sticker in here for the sight in a nice shade of purple. That is deep down in there, and this is nice. It's got a very nice hollow front, and that little bit there does look a little bit interesting. I do wonder if there's any kind of expansion for this later on to kind of add onto those little bits, because they almost look like slots or places to load things on. Anyway, nice detail. So as for getting this attached, once again, it is sandwich this into the hand, sandwich style. It does that really simple. Pop that on and it holds onto it perfectly. And I can't really stress enough just how figure-y this model kit is. It falls into poses like butter. It's simple but complex at the same time. Nothing's too loose, too tight. It all just works out great. I just did that in 2 seconds. I didn't have to turn off the camera and that is the pose that I got. Happy about it. It looks great. Feels fantastic. So next up in here, we've got the shield. Now, this is very unique when it comes to Gunpla. This is a curved, very rounded front shield. Around on the back, we've got lots of nice molded detail. Definitely a dream for those who like to detail up the little detail aspects and to panline all of that extra stuff right there. The handle section is just this little bit right here. That's attached via a ball joint. And that attaches onto this aspect of the wrist, which actually moves around on its own. So this is articulated in its own right, so that does mean once you've got that shield on there attached like so, it can still rotate around the arm even though there's nothing really in the shield itself to do that. That is very nice. So next up in here, we've got the alternate head. So on the left, we've got the standard head, the Gundam style head we've seen through the whole review. And on the right, we do have that more almost like Ava looking head, which is the closed up version. Both look absolutely phenomenal, and for the rest of the review, I'll leave the alternate version on so you can see it in some more poses and stuff. Swapping it out just involves grabbing it, pulling it off like so, and I'm actually glad that it is a full alternate head, not swappable parts. It's something Bandai's been doing once or twice lately, which I do greatly appreciate. There we go. So next up in here is this little segment, which when this was released, I had no idea what it is, but now we see what it is. It's a kind of cockpit for a core fighter. So basically just take the backpack here, which actually can rotate nicely on that axis. You pop it off just like so. There's a hole in the end here. You pop that into it just like so. On the bottom, we do have a little attachment if you want to attach that onto an action base, just like that. And there you go. That is what it looks like. Now, we'll mention, first off, this is not color accurate, just like a lot of the kit. So we are missing some colors, some white on these sections, some metallic blue on those sections, and what it should actually look like is this right here. So as you can see, the engine sections round back, the central aspect, actually pretty much all of it is heavily color inaccurate, which does seem to be a bit of an issue in this particular kit. So finally now blasting on into the articulation and starting off with the pose, and then I'll talk about, well, just how unique this is. So getting this into the usual pose is so fluid. This might be the fastest I've ever done it. Again, Bandai has managed to make this kit feel like an action figure. It just sinks down perfectly. The knee bend, the ankles are fantastic, the ab crunch amazing, arms amazing, neck amazing, everything is perfect, and this right here is what we get in the end. I mean, absolutely everything about the way it's pulled off this pose is just incredible. Even its center of gravity is so perfect and it just holds up so nicely. This is absolutely incredible. But anyway, onto each of the joints, and pretty quickly too. So anyway, as usual, we're going to be starting from the head down. First off, we do have a giggity goo, and quite the one. So it is a ball joint down bottom, hinge up top, so it can look up and down a lot. As you can see, the actual blue section inside the torso moves with the neck, which is absolutely incredible. Next up, when it comes to the arms and shoulders, there's a joint inside of the body right there, which is very nice. We've then got the usual kind of shoulder joint that does that. These can move a lot, so it gets them out of the way, so you can raise the arm up incredibly high without that getting in the way. Drops down like so, full spin right there. Popping it off. Taking a little bit of a closer look, we've got a full rotation at the bicep. Elbow is just a single joint like so, which is a bit like the Kyokai Senki kits. Didn't actually realize that little blue piece was holding that on. This then attaches on there like so. We do have that rotation right here I mentioned earlier on, and it's a standard regular ball joint wrist. The ab crunch in here is very nice. There it is to the back. There it is all the way. Okay, this is probably the only thing. So this does pop out quite a bit, but there is a nice hinge in here. Also, when I was building it, I think there might be a bit you can cut off to actually give you a bit of modifiable more movement to it. But as it stands, it's just back like so and forward like that, which is very nice. The side to side is mainly just inside this ball joint right here. And you do have the rotation as well. It's blocked there to there. I was about to say the hips on this are standard, but I forgot. These are locking ball joints. This is exactly what I was talking about in the review I just did of the SNAA Iron Sickle. Basically, these are almost like a D-shaped ball. So there is a flat section just there. So they actually attach in from the, well, back angle like that, attach on in, and then when they actually move forward, they're locked in there now. So these are not going to fall out on you. So anyway, kicks up to the front, kick out to the back. That's what we get for the splits. The knee here is a single point joint as well, but does bend so perfectly the way it overlaps here. Again, a little bit of a Kyokai Senki kind of feel to it, but that's so nice. The ankles are very unique. So these move at that point right there in a big ball joint. And then we've got another little bit of a joint attaching on these little feet sections right here. So overall, you get so much out of these. So good. But yeah. Posability, probably 100% perfect. Actually, I forgot. We do have the backpack around here, which is absolutely crazy. It can point all sorts of directions. It's mad. So anyway, that right there is it for the review. And this right here is X Gold tier. This is the new tiering system, and this is going to be right smack in the middle. It's pretty much the same as before. The X is for extreme. We're on a brand new level of gunpla. So it's going to be X Bronze through X Gundarium. And essentially the gold that we have right now, the X Gold, is pretty much comparable to what Gundarium used to be. So yeah, if I was ranking this on the older system, it may have been Platinum, may have been Gundarium, it's kind of hard to say. Basically, aesthetically, this thing is absolutely fantastic. The molding is amazing, the pieces are broken down so perfectly, and it looks gorgeous. However, the color separation is not 100%, which does work against it ever so slightly. It is a very ambitious and very over-the-top design, so Bandai obviously couldn't pull it off quite perfectly in plastic, but what we do get does look phenomenal, especially those legs and that head. When it comes to the accessories in here, these are absolutely amazing. Every single one of these is super nice, except maybe the Heat Hawk. That seems like a little bit of a throwback. It's very simple, there's no heat to the Heat Hawk, but everything else is gorgeous. New blades are phenomenal, beam rifle looks great, and the shield is very unique. 2 heads, always a super bonus. Lastly, the articulation in this kit is absolutely perfect. It might be the best articulation high grade has ever seen, especially including the fact that this feels like a figure. It actually just falls into every pose perfectly. You can't even pull out the hips on it. Actually, you wouldn't really pull anything out by accident on this, but the waist if you extend it a little bit too much to the front. But besides that, it poses perfect. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. You should grab yourself one. Anyways, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. Once again, I can't finish this video right here without special thanks to the channel members and the patrons over on Patreon, including Simon Paskin, Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Joe, RG59061, ShadowWolf179, Van Fawn, and Scotty Thomas.